Hey y'all, I'm Rylan. Welcome to my channel. I am here like everybody else on Booktube to do my mid-year book freakout tag for 2023. 2023 has been a phenomenal reading year for me so far, not necessarily quantity-wise compared to past years, but certainly quality-wise. I have read a lot of really fun books that have made me very emotional, and I'm excited to talk to y'all today about some of the ones that have made the cut and are going to be mentioned in this video. So I have 13 questions for y'all today. I'm honestly not going to spend too much time on each book. I will start rambling if I try to go into too much details, and we really do not need that today. But yes, I have 13 questions for y'all. Let's go ahead and dive into them, with the first question being, what is the best book you have read so far in 2023? I picked Brutal Obsession by S. Massery for this one. Objectively speaking, it's not like the greatest literary masterpiece I've ever read, but for a 700 almost page book, I flew through this one. I was absolutely obsessed with it, could not put it down, did not want it to end, and just absolutely loved every page that I read. I loved the characters in this book. I loved the spice, the drama, the action, the sports, all of it. So yeah, I went ahead and picked this one as my answer to the best book that I've read so far. I did give this one 5 stars. I don't do that super often, so the fact that I was so obsessed with Brutal Obsession says a lot. I do have a reading vlog for this if you want to go check it out. I do talk about this book more in depth. The next question is, what is the best sequel you have read so far in 2023? For that, I am saying Sinner by Sierra Simone. This book is technically a companion novel, but I'm still counting it because it is book 2 in the series. I love this one. Again, gave it 5 stars. I am obsessed with Sean and Zenny, who are the main characters in this one, and was getting very emotional during a very specific part in the book near the end, and I could not put it down. Again, I remember trying not to cry while reading this one on live sprints with Stasia. I don't think I ended up crying, but I was definitely very close, so I had to pick this one for the best sequel that I've read so far this year. I also picked this one because I don't read a ton of continuing series. Most of the series that I do read are companion novels, especially because I mostly read romance, and a lot of those series are companion novels, not continuations, if that makes sense. So I made it work for this question. The next question is new release that you haven't read yet but want to, and for that I picked The Kingmaker by Kennedy Ryan. This is technically a new re-release because Bloom picked it up and republished it recently, but I'm gonna go ahead again and count it for this one. I got it a few weeks ago when I was at a bookstore event in Ohio that was hosting a bunch of romance authors. Kennedy Ryan was there. I got this book for purchasing a ticket and do want to get to it. I am scared though because I think that this one is a continuing duet or trilogy. So kind of nervous, but I have heard it's really good and I do want to see what all the hype is about. Question 4 is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I'm going to be super basic and say Ali Hazelwood's YA romance called Checkmate. I'll have a picture on the screen here. This will be her first YA. I love everything that I've read from her so far. Everything has gotten 5 stars or 4 stars, but mostly 5 stars, and honestly I would read anything that she writes. I am sad that it's not an adult novel, but when Talia Hibbert published Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute at the beginning of this year, again, I was hesitant about that one and ended up loving it. So it's also Ali Hazelwood, so I do have high hopes for this one. But yeah, this is my probably most anticipated release and the one that I'm most keeping up with. Question 5 is, what is the biggest disappointment of this year so far? And for that I said Happenstance. Not that this one was terrible. I did give it 3 or 3.5 stars, but it's Tessa Bailey. I was expecting so much and this one kind of just ended up falling short for me. I do have a lot of very pretty tabs in it. We read it for our book club, but again, this just wasn't a new favorite of mine. It was not as stand-up as some of her other books that I've read and have given 5 stars, so this one is definitely disappointing to me, but I still liked it, just again not a favorite. or not what I was expecting. Question 6 is what was the biggest surprise so far this year, and that for me is Read Between the Lines by Rachel Lacey. I didn't think that this was going to be a bad book by any means. I was really excited to read it, but I wasn't expecting to laugh and then cry and then laugh and then cry and then do that throughout the entire book while I was in the car driving home one weekend, because that's pretty much what happened. And because I was so emotional over it and just fell in love with the story and the characters and the plot, I had to give this one 5 stars. So this was definitely my biggest surprise of the year so far. Question 7 is new to you author, favorite new to you author, and I picked B. Celeste. I'm kind of biased now, I feel like, because I have met her, and that just makes my feelings for her and about her so much stronger. I have read 2 books by B. Celeste so far and got emotional over both of them. I very much feel a connection to the stories that she writes and the characters that she writes. I did as well do a reading vlog of this one, and you can check it out if you want to. I have really enjoyed B. Celeste's book so far. I do have a little stack right here of stuff that I need to get to now as well after reading Underneath the Sycamore Tree and Dare You to Hate Me, both of which I have signed. But yeah, definitely a new favorite author so far this year. She is not a debut author by any means, but she was new to me as of 2023. So yes, definitely a new favorite. Question 8 is who is your newest fictional crush? And for that I am choosing, of course, Silas from Maggie Moves On by Lucy Score. I was so not expecting Silas to be so unapologetically him, and I was truly obsessed. I loved him throughout this entire book and just wanted the best for him, to be honest. And so yeah, he's definitely my current fictional crush. If you want a sexy landscaper and his hilarious dog, would recommend reading this book. But yes, Silas is most certainly a current fictional book boyfriend. Question 9 is who is your newest favorite character? For that I chose 2 actually, but they come from the same book, and that is Avi and Kai from For the Fans by Nyla K. My physical copy of this book is actually out for delivery right now. I needed to get my own copy. I want to reread it and annotate it already after only reading it a few months ago. I was thoroughly obsessed, and I love both of these characters and loved watching their relationship grow throughout their book, and it was just so beautiful to see, and I love them. I want the best for both of them, and they are definitely new favorites for me. As of right now, they probably will not drop off the top of the list for a long time, if ever. I truly loved them both and really loved For the Fans. I am just flying through these. There's no rambling going on here. I love to see it. Question 10 is what is a book that has made you cry? For that I chose Underneath the Sycamore Tree. I cried a lot, especially near the end of the book, and I went through a lot of tissues reading this one. My mascara was definitely no longer attached to my eyelashes upon finishing it, and I love a good book that makes me cry. So this is one of the only ones that I have read so far this year that has made me cry to the extent that it did. So this one definitely had to be my answer for this question. Question 11 is what is a book that made you happy? And I chose Dare You to Hate Me. Again, B. Celeste mentioned it earlier, but this book made me so happy. I loved reading it. I loved watching both of our characters just grow so much throughout the book. They were totally new people by the end of it, and it was just so cool to see how they grew closer to each other and opened up in a trusting way just through both of their life situations, and truly became really beautiful people together, and I loved it. 4.5 stars to this one. It's good sports romance with lots of emotions, a little tiny bit of spice, nothing super crazy, but really just a good story about growth and opening up to other people. And found family. That's also kind of a trope in this one, which I always love to see in romances. Question 12 is what is the most beautiful book you have gotten or received so far this year? I had to choose my special edition of Absinthe by Winter Renshaw. Truly nothing compares to this book and its beauty. I am just obsessed with it. So no doubt about it, for most beautiful book. I could just look at it all day. The colors, the gold, the image on the cover, obsessed, chef's kiss. The final question, phew, I am super impressed with myself, I think, actually, is what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Honestly, I need to read all of these. In a perfect world, I would read all of these books by the end of the year. That is not going to happen, so I just casually chose 3. First, I picked The Nanny. This is a romance. Nanny and a famous chef, I believe. Yes. And then I also picked The Judgment of Paris by Dr. Rebecca Sharp. This is the sequel to The Fall of Troy, which I also have on my shelf and really loved. There's really no excuse as to why I haven't read this yet when I was obsessed with the first book and meant to read this one right after finishing it. So I definitely need to get to it, as I read the first book in the series last year. This one is a continuing duet, so I definitely need to see how it ends. And then the third book that I picked was Iced Out. This is an hockey romance. This is the special edition from Fit Teacher Rachel. It's beautiful. I need to read it. I love a good hockey romance, and I need to get to this one. So that's that. But yes, those are all of the questions for the mid-year book freakout tag. I, of course, am always freaking out over all of my books. I truly have an obsession going on, both collecting wise and reading wise. So this tag is always so much fun to do. I'm not gonna go ahead and tag anybody else to do this tag, but if you are seeing this, you should also film one if you haven't already. Feel free as well to share your own videos in the comments down below. I would love to watch all of y'all freak out over the books that you've read so far this year and get some new recommendations from y'all. So that is all that I have for y'all today. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.